hit the light skin lottery and still going on complaining, acting all dumb like she don't know nothing. Some of that she went through was not racism. It was just some in-law. They're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby's gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist. Because even black people want to know how brown the baby gonna be.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to react to some of the responses to Chris Rock's latest comedy special, where he took shots at Jada Pinkett Smith and Meghan Markle. Obviously, he's a comedian, and apparently some people believe that certain groups should be off limit when it comes to comedy. So I'm going to go through an article where we look at some of their tweets and see what you guys think. Okay, so this article says, fans furious at comedian for, quote, punching down on black women. Chris Rock fans are furious at him for taking shots at Jada Pinkett Smith and Meghan Markle in a live set for Netflix titled Selective Outrage. How ironic. On Saturday the 4th of March, the 58-year-old comedian performed a live set for the streaming giant where he roasted Will Smith for slapping him at the Oscars in March 2022, blamed Jada Pinkett Smith for starting Ish, and joked about Meghan Markle's accusations of racism against the royal family. Speaking of Jada Pinkett Smith, Rock claimed that she attempted to force him to quit hosting the Oscars in 2016 because her husband didn't get the Best Actor nomination. That year, Smith was being considered as a nominee for Concussion, but he ultimately failed to make the list. Years ago, his wife said I should quit the Oscars. I shouldn't host because her man didn't get nominated for Concussion. And then he gives me an effing concussion, Rock joked. He said the Girls Trip star started this whole ish. In the same set, Rock also addressed Markle's April 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey. In the interview, Markle and Prince Harry said that while at Buckingham Palace, there were concerns raised about how dark their baby's skin might be before Archie was born. Rock questioned the belief that Markle was the victim of racism and said she was merely dealing with in-laws ish. Soon after the live stream, many fans started calling out Rock for his rude statements. Chris Rock called Jada Pinkett Smith a B and said Meghan Markle played the race card, wrote lawyer Xavier Pope, punching down on black women, clownery. Another added, America has woken up to the fraud. Look at this room of black people laughing the heck out of Meghan Markle. First, it was at South Park. Now, Chris Rock has destroyed Meghan Markle. Another person wrote, it don't matter your hue. If you are a famous black woman, Chris Rock will drag you for giggles. He ain't for the culture because he had endless things to make a laughing matter of and chose to be mean to Meghan under the guise of parody. Nah, you mean harm, Chris. Wow. So, it feels like Chris Rock has a problem with black women. Jada, Meghan, his ex-wife. I'm noticing a trend. Every routine, the joke seems to be at black women's expense. I also hate that America loves for people to be cruel, just so long as no one gets hit. Eye roll. Right. So Chris Rock's week behind decided to go in on Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and kept up his already 20 plus years of attacking Jada, one person wrote. Another added, Chris Rock, you are not funny. The Meghan Markle pylon has got to stop. The mention of her name is so lucrative. MFers forget that she's a human being. The Independent has contacted Rock's representatives for comment. During his set, Rock also spoke about Smith and his wife's marital issues. Will Smith practices selective outrage because everybody knows what the F happened, Rock said in an extended riff towards the end of the 70-minute special. Okay, and then we also have Lonnie Love. She said, I don't expect my other fellow comics who are not black women to understand the complex issues of some of the Chris Rock set. They have not had to endure the issue of sexism and racism from an industry that doesn't understand you as a black woman. Okay, so interesting. Basically, they're saying that Meghan Markle and Jada Pinkett Smith should have been off limits because they are black women. Okay, so it seems that from these tweets, people seem more concerned about skin color than the character of a person. People seem more concerned about skin color than acknowledging that these people have lied, acknowledging that these people are full of inconsistencies. That's exactly what Chris Rock was pointing out in the Meghan Markle part of the skit, where he said what she claimed was racism happens in families across America every day when a new baby is on the way, especially in black families. That was his point. And he's a comedian. He's gonna put his own spin on things. He doesn't have to believe Meghan Markle's claims. He doesn't have to agree with Meghan Markle just because she's not even a black woman. I've said this, but just because you consider her a black woman. He doesn't have to keep Jada out of this situation when he believes that it's Jada who started the rift between him and Will. Because Will is trying to please his wife. A lot of people thought this at the time. They looked at Jada, they saw her roll her eyes, and it appeared that Will reacted based on that. Okay, now Will is his own person. He can decide what he wants to do. But ultimately, he's going to be influenced by his wife. And clearly, he has been in the past. And, you know, Chris is just saying what a lot of people were thinking. And he's a comedian. What I don't understand is in comedy, there's now these group of people who want to police what comedians can do, who comedians can target. When the reality is comedians target everybody. Nobody is off limits. This is nothing new. We had the same thing when it came to Dave Chappelle and the trans community, when all he was doing was talking about his trans friend and, you know, telling a story about his friend. But people decided, a small group of people decided that that community has to be off limits when it comes to comedians. And it makes me think, who do people think they are telling a comedian who they can and can't target? They're, like he said, selective outrage. There's a reason why he called it selective outrage. Because when it comes to him using the N-word to refer to Will Smith and, you know, other black men, no one has a problem with that, apparently. But the B word now, apparently you have a problem with that. He used the N-word countless times throughout his special. No, I haven't seen any of these people mention that. So I just think we're at a point now where people are going to be moved to and fro based on who's offended, rather than if you're offended, then don't listen. How about that? What happened to that? Where people were like, you know what? That's not to my taste. I'm not gonna go there. And the thing is with Meghan Markle, they themselves have come out now, or Harry, and said that the royal family are not racist. He even was asked about the incident. He claimed that he never, said the royal family were racist. That's what he claimed in his interview with Tom Bradbury. So when Tom was like, okay, but your wife did say that they had concerns about the baby's skin color, even Harry himself downplayed that and implied that, this is just a conversation about what the baby would look like. He himself downplayed it. In the same way that many of us have said that people have these conversations all the time, especially in mixed race families. You've got one who's ginger, one who's biracial. People are going to be like, oh, I wonder how the baby's going to look, what their skin tone's going to be. They're going to get someone's ears, someone's nose. And that's basically what Chris Rock was saying. Black people discuss skin shade all the time. Even in that tweet, he said it doesn't matter what hue you are. As if to say, you could be as white as Meghan Markle or as dark as Lupita. But, black women will be targeted. Meghan Markle is not in that category. She's biracial and she is white passing. She herself has said that she didn't face racism. She herself said that. She's claiming to now have had to face it, after marrying Prince Harry. She said in her special, no one treated me like a black woman before she came to the UK. in her podcast with Mariah Carey, she said that she regards herself as biracial. She herself doesn't regard herself as a black woman, so stop trying to put that on her. She wants all of the protection that comes with being in a protected class though. She wants the protection so that you can't criticize her, but she doesn't actually want to be considered a black woman. Her school friends have come out and said that she never even told them that her mother is black. They assumed she was Italian. She kept that quiet throughout school. It's just when one day her mother showed up at the school and then they realized that she was biracial. Even in the Netflix documentary, her agent said that he never knew she was biracial. Why didn't she tell him? And then he happened to find out, and then he started putting her forward for, to play biracial women or black women. So she was perfectly happy being known as a Caucasian actress. So Chris Rock is a comedian. He can make jokes about whoever he chooses to, because when it comes to comedy, nobody is off limits. Everybody gets it. The reason why people found it funny is because he said what a lot of people were thinking. And he pointed out the inconsistencies that a lot of people have spotted for years when it comes to Meghan and Harry. He wasn't targeting a whole group of black women. He never even mentioned black women in that way. He never even said that. He mentioned specific people, Jada and Meghan. They don't represent all black women, thankfully. Just like Amber Heard doesn't represent all white women. I've never heard anybody say, she's a white woman, how dare you criticize her? I think character needs to be looked at more than race when it comes to these things. I think character needs to be looked at more than gender or sex when it comes to this thing. Because you're defending people who, in my opinion, are of very, very poor character. Jada herself has talked about cheating on Will. She's of poor character. Meghan Markle, we know now that a lot of the claims that she has made are lies, to the point where they're now backtracking on their claims of racism because they can't produce any evidence. They haven't even named the person who talked about the baby's skin color. They're protecting the racists. And I'm not saying Chris Rock is of perfect character as well. I mean, he's admitted to infidelity, but I don't think it makes sense to put his wife in the same category as Meghan Markle and Jada Pinkett Smith. And Chris Rock said that he regrets his actions when it came to his infidelities. He didn't bring his wife on TV and say to her face, I have no regrets. And basically say, I felt good though, so that's all that matters, as Jada did when she sat Will down. It was embarrassing.
Baby, I'm gonna stand by my baby no matter what.
Well, I definitely understand why it would look that way or feel that way, but I actually don't look at it as a transgression at all. Through that particular journey, I learned so much about myself and was able to really confront a lot of emotional immaturity, emotional insecurity, and I was really able to do some really deep healing.
And as for South Park was making light of the hypocrisy that Meghan and Harry have perpetuated. That's all they were doing. It wasn't targeting black women. Again, South Park targets everyone. Nobody is off limits when it comes to South Park. So again, it's just a matter of you wanting certain groups to be off limits because you're offended, not because you want everyone to be treated equally when it comes to comedy. Clearly not. And let's not forget, this all started because Chris was slapped. I'm not saying that verbal attacks aren't harmful either, but Chris was the one who was attacked on the world stage. This man didn't fight back. He didn't punch him back. He didn't F and blind him. The most he said was, wow, this is over a G.I. Jane joke. That's the most he said. And that was the end of it. He did not embarrass himself on TV the way Will embarrassed himself. We're acting as if he's not allowed to reply. He's not allowed to respond. He's a comedian. The best place for him to respond is in his comedy set. That's the best place for him to respond. It's no different from Adele writing about her divorce or Taylor Swift writing about the things she writes about. Life experiences. And likewise, this is what he went through and he's going to write about it. We forget, Chris is somebody who went through racial bullying as a child. When he was bussed into predominantly white school, he went through racial bullying every day. physically attacked. We forget that. We can't discount his experience because you want to defend Meghan and Jada. What Will did to him that day must have brought back everything he went through as a child. But you're not talking about that. You're worried about him calling out who he believes started the whole thing, Jada. And just in time for the Oscars. Perfect timing, if you ask me. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts below. Do you think that certain groups should be off limits when it comes to comedy? Do you think Chris Rock went too far? Maybe he shouldn't have used the B word. Let me know what you think and take care of yourselves.